Shalom everybody, Akiva Gersh here from Vegan Rabbi, and we're just a few hours away from the beginning of Yom Kippur here in Israel. And I'm going to share with you a teaching that has to do with this time, that connects to this time that we're in, that connects to what we are encouraged to do during this time, and of course, food ethics, how we eat, compassion towards animals, and veganism. This teaching comes from a text called the Tomer Devorah, a very, very important Kabbalistic sefer, that basically goes through the 10 sfirot and extracts midot, character traits, from the sfirot, and basically teaches us how we should be based on how Hashem is, so to speak. So it's like this interesting mystical kind of ethical text, which is very, very unique. And one of the chapters talks about the midah, the attribute of chachma, of wisdom, right? And in this short chapter on wisdom, Moshe Cordovero, the author, the writer of Tomer Devorah, who was a leading Kabbalist in the 16th century in the holy city of Tzfat, born there, died there. He overlapped with the famous Kabbalist, the Arizal, who actually took over for him as the leader of Kabbalah in Tzfat after he died. And so Moshe Cordovero, who's also known as the Ramak, says like this, right? When talking about how to acquire this attribute of Chachma, he says like this: O tzrich liot v'achamav pursim al kol hanivraim. A person's mercy must be spread out on all of the creations. Lo yivazem v'lo yabdim. Don't disparage them, and don't let them be lost. Shaharei hachachma ha'elyona hi prusa al kol hanivraim. Right, because the superior wisdom, or the upper wisdom, right, speaking about God, is, or God's superior wisdom is spread out on all of the creations in the world. Domem v'tzamech v'chai u'medaber. Right, from the mineral world to the plant world to the animal kingdom to humans. And for this reason, we were warned not to disparage any food, not to waste it or just treat it, without respect. And on this point, it's very fitting. Right, just like the superior wisdom, the upper wisdom, does not disparage or disrespect anything in this world, right? And everything comes from there. Dichsiv, as it says in Tehillim, kulam b'chochma asita, right? That God made everything with this attribute of chochma. Ken ye'rachamei ha'adam al kol ma'asav yitbarach. So too, the mercy of a human being should be on all the creations and all the makings of God. And that's why Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, who lived about 1800 years ago, he was the editor, the compiler of the Mishnah in the year 200 CE. There's a story of him in the Talmud that there was an animal that was coming towards him. There was an animal on the way to slaughter, and the animal hid, in the coat, in the long coat of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said to the animal, "Go! This is what you're made for. You're created to be killed and used for meat, right?" And it says in this, "Al yedei shelo chas al ben habakar," right? Because Rabbi Yehuda Nasi didn't have mercy on this animal, shaya mitchabe etzlo, that was hiding next to him. V'amar lo zil lechach notzarta, right? As I said, in the Gemara Baba Metzia, it says, "Go, for this you were created." Ba'u lo yisurin. The Gemara says, the Talmud says that because of this one act of lack of compassion for this animal, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was the leader of his generation, the greatest rabbi of his generation and of many generations. Because of this, he was punished with great suffering for many, many years. Shehem mitzad adin, sharei ha'achamim meginim al adin, right? Because the onesh, the punishment, came from the side of judgment. But when someone has mercy, one shows mercy, displays mercy in his or her life, so that overrides the judgment. And we'll get back to that in a second, right? Yom Kippur. וכאשר ריחם על החולדה ואמר וחמה וכל מעשיו כתיב ניצל מן הדין. Right, and then the story goes on that many years later, there was someone cleaning in his house, and this woman was shooing away a rat, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, no, right? Don't do that. Don't bother the rat, right, or the mouse, whatever it was. And he quotes this pasuk, right, this verse, V'achamav v'kol ma'asav. Right, God's mercy is on all of God's creation. So too we need to be like that, right? And when he did that, he was saved from the judgment, and his pain went away, right? Val derech zeh, he continues, lo yivazeh shum nimtza mina nimtzim, right? And in this way, a person should not disparage any created thing in this world. Shekulam b'chachma, right? Because everything was made with chachma, with wisdom. V'lo yakra someach ela letzorch. Don't even pull up a plant without a good reason. V'lo yamid habal chai ela letzorch. Don't kill another animal. Don't kill an animal unless there is a need. Right? We're not going to get into that right now. We talked about it once in the past. We'll talk about it more in the future. What does this need when it comes to animals? Do we really need to eat animals? If so, how much fulfills that need, and how much, is just going to the category of desire and want and maybe even lust, right? And that's why he continues to say that the Torah, v'yivro lehem mita yafa b'sakin b'duka, l'lachem kol ma she'efshar. That's why the Torah is very specific that when an animal is killed for a need, right, shchita, right, it's done with a very, very sharp and checked knife, right, to have as much mercy on that animal as possible, right? And he basically sums up this chapter by saying, like, the main thing here, right, in the achieving of the attribute of chachma, but also as a value for life in general, is mercy, right, rachamim, on other animals and all life created by God in this world, right, which means all life, obviously, in general. And connecting this teaching to the time that we're like standing hours before Yom Kippur, when we're going to be standing all day, sitting all day, whether we're going to shul or we're at home or some of us through Zoom, whatever it's going to be, it's a day that we're focusing on, like, okay, what did I not do so good this year? What do I want to do better? What do I have to ask mechila or slicha or kapara for? Forgiveness and atonement for. And we're basically spending like a whole day asking for God to have mercy on us. I have mercy on me. I'm sorry. I'm just like I'm a human being, and I make mistakes, and I made mistakes. I'm going to try not to do it again. So please have mercy on me and give me good life. Write me in the book of life. Bless me with good life. Bless me with health and parnasah and all these great things. That's like the ikar, the essential part of Yom Kippur, basically, right? And it's a Yom Sameach, and it's a Yom Chag, because what an awesome day, as it's said, as it's brought down, like Yom Kippur is like a car wash for our soul. We're asking for mercy, and at the same time, we're getting this beautiful spiritual cleanse on our soul level, right, from all the things that we did do wrong, right, so that we can enter into the new year, clean and new and fresh and pure, right? But as we're asking for God's mercy, we can't forget how we need to reflect God's mercy in our own life, right, and ask ourselves the question: if we're asking for mercy, how are we being merciful, right? Are there things in our life that are the opposite of mercy, that we're causing undue pain and suffering to animals because of the way that we eat, the way that we choose to live our lives, the things that I'm choosing to put into my mouth because it tastes good, right? It's an important thing to think about in general, especially on Yom Kippur, right? When I'm thinking about mercy, like, I'm asking, like, the creator of all life to, like, be merciful on me, but, like, what about in my life? Right? Am I extending that mercy to others, to other humans, of course, and to even to other non-human life? And if I see, and if I find where I am not being merciful, so this is the ultimate time to change that, right? And to make a pledge and even a promise to say, this year I'm going to do things differently, right? I see how important mercy is. I see how much God values mercy. I see how much I ask for mercy, so I need to be more merciful as well, and make sure that the decisions I make in my life and the foods I choose to eat and the things I put in my mouth, right, are in line with my values and Judaism's values of mercy and compassion. Wishing everyone a Gemar Chatima Tova, a beautiful Shana Tova, and a world filled with love and compassion. All the best.